Thandi, thanks so much for your time. I mean, how's the summit going?
It's been fantastic. So we've got over 2,000 delegates in Johannesburg today. And I think the highlight has really been having the broad variety of speakers. So 19 speakers, both locally and from abroad. And I think the rigor around just the panel discussions and differing views has really given many of the delegates food for thought.
I mean, markets have largely really gone nowhere fast for the past couple of years. I mean, even right now we're seeing the JSE started off great, but things have just turned around. So from a investment point of view, I mean, how do you play this market? Where do you go?
Well, for us, we really look to deliver good outperformance to our clients using unit trusts.
Sure.
So rather than being independent and going out and making your own stock selection, many clients look to us to do a lot of that due diligence, so to speak. So we would look at the underlying fundamentals of a business. We would take a bottom-up stock picking approach. So rather than look at the broad universe top-down, we would be looking to see, you know, in a market like ours, where are the good value businesses? And really what we'd look at is typically those businesses that are out of favor. As you say, the market's gone nowhere. And for us, that's an interesting time because that's often where you find some great opportunities.
I'm interested in your selection because at the beginning of the year, we had many of investors telling us that SA Inc. was the place to be. This is where the value would be had. But that has disappointed us somewhat. For you and your stock selection in the unit trusts, which have been the better performers and which have lagged?
Well, what we've been looking at as a proudly African business is we tend to focus on local markets. So be it South Africa, we've seen some nice opportunities in Nigeria as well as in Zimbabwe. So our focus is largely on the continent. Of course, the one thing we often do tell our investors is that there's no use having all of your eggs in one basket. You know, if you look at the South African market, you know, we're probably worth less than 1% of the total world economy. So if you're looking for great opportunities, offshore is an interesting space. So whilst we as Allan Gray wouldn't look at the broad kind of universe of stocks outside of the continent, we do work very closely with our offshore investment partner, Orbis, who would look at opportunities abroad.
Thandi, interesting selection, Zimbabwe. I mean, I always imagined Allan Gray as you're quite traditional in its stock selection, and especially when it comes to Zimbabwe, where many of investors are on the caution side right now, waiting the outcome of those elections. But what are you seeing there that is worth Allan Gray taking a look at?
Our approach is really quite consistent. So regardless of where we're seeing opportunities, you speak to Zimbabwe or whether it's in Nigeria, I think essentially what we're looking for is those stocks that are out of favor. So we're going to look for really good quality businesses that are likely to yield good returns for investors over a slightly longer period of time. So when we're considering opportunities, we're going to be looking to take at least a 4 to 5 year view. Rather than finding those opportunities that might be more momentum stocks. So we're really looking for good value that we'd be able to hold on behalf of our clients.
I mean, bringing it back home from a personal finance point of view, if I'm looking to get more exposure into a unit trust, what advice would you offer me?
I think the most important thing is to be clear on what your own personal investment objectives are. And the reason that's important is that, you know, we've got over 1,600 unit trusts in South Africa alone. And so choosing the right unit trust for you can be difficult. You know, with a lot of choice comes a great deal of complexity.
Sure.
So if you've got a good sense of what your personal investment objectives are, think about your time horizon. So how long are you looking to be invested? And are you looking to generate capital growth or income or a combination of the two? Once you've answered those questions, you can then find a unit trust whose mandate is closely aligned to your own objectives. And that should be a good starting point.